Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning, everyone. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Board of Commissioners meeting for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019. Man, the year's already flying by. Our inspirational word for the day: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And we have our dog this morning. Trying to get a working microphone.
Oh, did he growl?
You want to just do it from the podium? Okay.
We have a cute little Yorkie Terrier mix, maybe a full-blooded one. I don't know. He looks like a full-blooded Yorkie. He's going to be available tomorrow. He was found in Lorain. He's about 5 years old. Very, very sweet. If you want a pet for your family, come down to our Lorain County Dog Kennel. We have about 15 dogs to choose from. A couple more little ones I saw online today. You could look at the website or the Facebook page of Volunteers of the Lorain County Dog Kennel to see what we have available. So come pick them up. You'll be ready tomorrow. Spayed and neutered, ready to go. Thanks. Bath and a haircut. Just perfect.
He's a little one, so he won't eat you out of house and home,
No,
right?
he won't.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Under resolutions, there are no investments. Appropriations.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Transfers.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Travel.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Bills.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mrs. Sueda.
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
That'd be County Administrator Jim Cordez, already 1 week older, right?
I'm feeling it, too. Feeling it. We're already down to this, huh? Sorry, I was working.
He's always working through his piles. We don't give him enough work, right?
I do have a few personnel issues. I want to talk about some hires in maintenance and custodial. Also want to talk about United Steelworker of America contract in the auditor's office. I had some conversation with the district representative from the steelworkers, potential purchase of real estate, potential sale of real estate, and one pending legal matter. All of those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussion. So I'd ask at the conclusion of a regular board meeting, we go into executive session, we discuss those matters that I've outlined. Thank you.
Authorized payment of $961.88 to Andrus Crematorium Funeral Home, Lorraine, for indigent veteran Clyde K. Neary in Oberlin in accordance with the ORC 5901.25.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Approving change order number 1 in the amount not to exceed $3,182.63 to Crown Commercial Construction for additional work requested at 201 Burns Road Annex.
So move.
Second.
I
Discussion.
certainly like that number a lot better than
Yes, and
Yeah.
the other
The one that was
came through,
originally
I know.
there.
It gave me a heart attack on the
that
last
typo.
one.
That
I thought I'd seen that
Extra
before.
zero?
yeah,
I
that
had to
that
keep
extra
looking at it. I was like-
extra zero kind of prompted a lot of attention.
I'm glad I keep you all on your toes
That's
there.
right.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Under Domestic Relations, enter an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Youth Services for juvenile court funding application effective July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021 to provide prevention, treatment, and rehab programs for the children.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Under the engineer, approve and enter an agreement with Burgess and Nyepel, Paynesville, in the amount of $9,600 for load rating analysis of bridge structures on Cooper Foster Park Road Bridge 0740 and Low Street Bridge 1126 to be paid from the engineer project account. And ODOT is reimbursing $4,800. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the board.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundey.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Approve and enter an agreement with Burgess and Nyepel, Paynesville, in the amount of $3,000 for inspection of revised bridge load rating for special hauling vehicles on Cooper Foster Park Road, Bridge 0740, and Low Street Bridge 1126, paid from the engineer project account, and authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the board.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Approve and enter an agreement with Regional Engineering Limited in Mansfield in the amount of $5,218.60 for load rating analysis of various bridge structures to be paid from the engineer project account. ODOT is reimbursing $1,036.70 and authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the board.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Approve and enter an agreement with Richland Engineering Limited in Mansfield in the amount of $1,717 to inspect 6 structures for load rating analysis for special hauling vehicles paid from the engineer project account and authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the board.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
Must be summertime, right? All
Yeah,
this
right.
I know.
work going on in the
Right.
engineer's office, so good work.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Award contract to Henry Bergman, Genoa, in the amount of $797,366.62 for the 2019 countywide chip and seal program. 4 bids received on May 7th, being the most responsive bids, comply with specifications, and be paid out of the MVGT account. Issue notice to proceed on or before June 5th, authorizing work to begin on August 1st, and the work will be completed by September 30th. Authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retained at completion of project.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Public comment?
Okay, is there a public comment portion of the meeting? Anyone wishing to address the board? Jim?
Yes.
Grab the other podium, whichever one you're comfortable at. Just,
This is the closest one. so
closest one to
getting
the
old-
door.
Getting old, I'll move slowly. You know.
yeah,
Just
state
so
your
you'll
name.
know, I'm not one of the 25 people running for president of the
Ah,
United
there you
States.
go. Okay,
So
good,
we can
thank
take that
goodness.
off the table this morning.
We know you, but you need to introduce yourself.
Yeah. My name is Jim Slone. I live at 1504 Park Avenue, Elyria, Ohio. I'm here today, and I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, as I did before, for combining the board, the Mental Health Board and the Asst Board. And I think it's a very important job that's going to take place, and I applaud you guys for making the decision to do this. I think, if you will remember at the time, I requested that we do this properly, we do this, make this process work, and that we complete this in a manner that gives us quality service to both the Asst Board and to the Mental Health Board. And I have returned because I have some concerns. And some of my concerns are because I am on the Mental Health Board. Even though it be temporarily, I'm on the Mental Health Board. Some of the concerns that I do have is this, is that we have met with we have met as consultants, we have met as separate boards. We've been working tirelessly, or they have been working tirelessly, to combine these boards. It's a very, very tough job. It's going to be hard to do. And they have asked, I know both boards, and I was at the meeting when we agreed to ask for an extension past July 1st. And I was wondering why we can't get an extension, because this is such an important job that we are doing.
Yeah, Jim, just so you understand the format for the public debate, I mean, we can certainly take your questions in the advisement and get you some answers and
Okay.
have some discussions with you. This is, the public comment portion is not really a debatable time.
Well, no,
It's a time to state whatever your concerns are. So I would just
Okay.
say whatever questions you have, if you want to put them on the table, and then we can definitely get your responses to those.
Okay, can I just give them to you?
Sure,
and
oh,
you just-
absolutely.
You just go
Sure,
ahead,
Jim.
okay?
Go ahead.
I would like, first of all, I'd like to know why we can't get an extension past July 1st, because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people putting in a lot of hard work and doing a great job on it. The next thing is that as this merger gets closer and closer and closer, and it's not going to happen by July 1st, the way, in my opinion anyway, we were told recently that we were not to make any decisions as a board, that we were no longer to collaborate as a board by one of the commissioners, and that we have to make decisions as separate boards until we can't make decisions. Let me put it like this: we can't make decisions for the new board, okay? But we have to operate separately up until this merger takes place. We have to. You cannot take mental health board, Asst board, and not operate them separately until the combined boards are put together. So we were told not to make new decisions, make decisions for the new board. Okay? But we still have to make the decisions for everything that goes on.
Correct.
And I didn't understand why we were told not to collaborate with the other board to bring this thing together. Okay? That's one of the questions. That's question number 2. If we're going to continue to function as 2 independent boards after the merger, why is there such a sense of urgency to have this done by July 1st? That's the next, and the next one is since you have to have a new board before you can consider putting them together, when are the commissioners going to appoint the 10 members that they can appoint? And I'd like to have an answer on that.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Others wishing to make public comment this morning? Yes, sir. Please come up to the podium.
Hello, Jason Monschein, Eaton Township Trustee. Sharon, nice that she was not here last time I was up here. And I understand I'm not getting into a debate. I just want to make a simple few statements about the annexation received from Grafton Village. I didn't even have a bag big enough for all the paper. I had to steal my wife's travel bag. And the center table's gone, but this is everything I've had, and I didn't just pull this when they just filed this annexation. I've had this since I got in office. I understand this is going to be one of those municipal-owned annexations. It's pretty cut and dry. It basically says you have to give it to them. Jerry's not here, but I was going to advise that whether he recalls or not, that in this paperwork is a court ruling from the 80s when that property was annexed. The village tripled in size. I don't know the exact number, but how the commissioners of that time even allowed that annexation to happen is beyond me, but I was in diapers and a pacifier at that time, so I couldn't let my thoughts known. But ultimately, there's a few things in here that need to be considered, that it's just not, I don't care who owns the property, since they bought it off the state, whether it was an ex-president or current president of the United States, there's a ruling on that, and I want that reviewed by the board. Also, there was a 19th township that was created by the board late 80s, early 90s. Everybody says there's 18 townships. There's a 19th. I want to know where it is and if that property is part of this annexation. Out of the 2 I've been in office for, the first one that Grafton did, a walkway, safe route to school, I said it was a scam from the beginning. If we wanted an update on that today, there's no safe route to school. There's no walkway back there. It's just a fingertip annexation to get to Midview schools. The last Elyria annexation, I still know I'm right. The county engineer's office, and I'm not blaming any individual, but these annexations need to be reviewed outside the county from now on, in my opinion. Because it was not contiguous, then the legal description was wrong, and I still have an island. I have a resident that bothers me to this day that he is surrounded by the city of Elyria on an island, not part of the township. And those were all in the county commissioner's annexation manual, and you still allowed it through. Those were reasons for denial. So this is kind of my third and last straw. I want it reviewed. I'll obviously come here with probably Big Al and maybe even a few others to present our information. I'm not trying to be combative or, you know, hostile in any way, but this is another, if you look at this, it's a 100-foot strip around a property. There was a reason it was put there, because when you have a neighbor that can't play nice or a dog that can't play with other dogs, you fence them in. And that's what was done in the 80s when this property was annexed into the village. And now they're trying to knock down that barrier. I understand for them, yeah, it's the future development of their village and they're looking to get into our fields. Same with Grafton Township. I'm not the only township being annexed in this particular paperwork. What they do is up to them, but I'm here speaking for myself and the residents of Eaton Township. I'll bring all the paperwork back and we'll happily discuss it then, but I would like the prosecutor's office to research that and bring those files and that this is just not a simple municipality owns the property now and the commissioners shall allow the annexation, because there is a court hearing behind it by a judge that I'm sure may no longer be around. And there's only one trustee living that I know from that time frame, and it's one person I haven't got a hold of yet, but I'll make sure to have his whole theory, since he did sit in those discussions and signed the agreement both by Grafton Village, the state of Ohio, and both townships. So
Okay.
I understand that's for next Wednesday on the 29th, correct?
Mhm.
And I hope to have an opportunity to speak then. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board this morning? Yes, sir. You could just state your name, and where you live, and who you represent, and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, good morning.
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 Thank you for allowing us to be here. My name is Theo Thomas, live at 384 Pemberton Drive, and I'm here in conjunction with my associate, Mr. D. Daniels, owner of Mr. D's Karate Martial Arts Studio. We were just wondering, and maybe this is the wrong format, so I ask you, I apologize in advance if that's the case. The agenda for the low-income summer camp this summer, has that been discussed, or what is the status
What
of
was the
that?
question? I didn't
The
hear.
agenda for the
Summer camp.
low-income camp.
The summer camp proposal?
Summer camp resolutions will be on the agenda next week.
Next week.
I am in receipt of the resolutions from Job and Family Services, and they will be put forward for consideration next Wednesday.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other comments during public comment? Okay. And some of the items that were brought up, we can probably discuss during the commissioners' notes if
Report.
commissioners wish to address those. But just so everybody understands, basically the way the public comment section is always set up is that it gives everybody the opportunity to state on the record for 3 minutes, you know, what their concerns are, questions, whatever it may be. And but the format has really been set up not for it to be a a debatable 3 minutes, but for it to be an opportunity to put questions and concerns. I think anybody who's ever dealt with us knows that we're always available to answer questions. We get back to people all the time. We schedule one-on-one sessions with people, so folks do get answers to their questions when they're brought up here. It's just for the purpose of timing and being consistent with everyone. That's kind of the format that we operate under. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lundy, I
Well,
heard what you said, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You will get back with me. And
Oh.
Is there a time frame?
absolutely. You'll probably hear some comments today. Wait a few minutes, we'll get. Okay.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Sorry, our trustee from Eaton Township left. He's always passionate. I like him a lot. He gets angry, but it's passion. The 19th township was Black River Township. It got consumed in the annexation by the City of Lorain.
I learned some history. 'cause
So
I
there
never heard of
was a
Black River
19th township, but there was a lot more than 19. It was also Avon Township, which got split into Avon Lake and Avon. There was Ridgeville Township that got incorporated into North Ridgeville. So there was many more than 18 townships at one time. What, excuse me?
Rosenville Township.
Rosenville Township. So I don't know, it may have been, at the time that was written, there was still 19 townships, but I don't have the total number, but we can quickly go through. There was many, many more townships back when townships were considered a temporary form of government, and they were held in trust by trustees for the expansion of incorporated areas. I don't want to even go there because that could be a hotly debated topic that will get me into trouble very, very quickly. But with changes in the law, that type of government has become a little bit more permanent than it was way back when. But that said, I will yield to counsel. Thank you.
Nothing for open session. There are a couple pieces of pending litigation that we'll discuss in executive session, which is generally why I'm here. So that's it.
Commissioners report.
Well, Thursday afternoon, I had a conference call for the General Operations Committee meeting for the County Commissioners Association. We discussed additional funding for children's services in the state budget and indigent defense money that hopefully we're going to be receiving after many years of fighting for that.
Finally.
Yeah. Friday was my board of directors meeting in Columbus for the CCAO, and we discussed those things. And also, it looks like the funding for the Marks Radio, we may get the same amount of funding as we had been in the past. We thought that the commissioners or the counties were going to have to come up with additional dollars for the Marks radios. Also, they talked about the reduction in poll workers if we have the poll books, which we do at our Board of Elections. Especially this last election with such low turnout with all the poll workers sitting around, it just doesn't look right to the taxpayers, and hopefully we'll be able to reduce some of those poll workers. Sunday, Commissioner Sweden and I attended the Uncork for Canine event at Avon Isle, which I have never been to Avon Isle. It was a very nice venue. First time that they had their fundraiser there. It was a great place. Tremendous baskets. They're not even baskets. The raffle items were just like out of this world. People were great. It was a packed house, sold out. Food was outstanding. And I just want to say Fido's Companions is just such a good partner with our dog kennel. They've really helped us out a lot, and they continue to do so. Yesterday, we held more interviews for the Alcohol and Drug Board merger with the Mental Health Board, and I sincerely want to thank all those people who have been coming in and just their dedication, their passion, and the time commitment that they're willing to do to sit on these boards. So just one quick thing in response to Mr. Slone. The work starts once the boards are merged. The current boards are not really supposed to be telling the new board how to do things, what to do. So the work starts on July 1st, if that's the day that we decide to go forward with the appointments, not before. So That's why the time limit, it starts July, not now, so there's no really need for additional time.
Well, for clarification also, Jim, and everybody in the room, what occurs is some of the folks were of the understanding that they needed to begin a process of creating the policy book, the manual, the governance structure. And in essence, that is not a binding format for a new board. The new board is going to be charged with creating those entities, those components of the new board, and on day one, what'll essentially happen is the board will be named, they will convene, they will begin to select their own officers, they will begin the process of laying out the method in which they want the governance and the operations to run. So that will be their duty. That's what they're charged with. It's not a situation where the previous boards are going to dictate to the new board. The new board will roll that out. So that's why it's important to convene that new board and empower them to start that work. In the interim, I think what Commissioner Lundy has pointed out several times is that there are many hospitals do mergers, and on the day of a merger, everybody still shows up, they go to work, and they do everything the way they always have. They don't sit and say, oh, so do we have anything to do today? And we're looking forward to that same type of a rollout. This isn't about efficiencies. We want the entire staff retained. We've been told that they are actually understaffed. This could be a growth opportunity for those organizations, and we're excited to see how we can start putting those new folks in place so that they can start acquiring funding to do bigger and better things within our community.
And I guess just to piggyback on that, Jim, under Ohio Revised Code, it spells out that all duties, responsibilities, property, programs, contracts, whatever it may be, that it all transfers to the new board. And then that's the work begins. It's almost, we talked about the analogy with hospital mergers and how the nurses show up and, they do their job just like they would any other day. And then they leave it up to, their new board or new corporation, whatever the case may be, to make decisions. I guess to put it into other terms, when the Strickland administration left, I wish, and when we were in the majority, the Democrats for the first time in Lord knows how long, we would have loved to have been able to say to the next legislature, to the next administration, this is the way we want everything to be. Maybe Ohio will be in a better shape today, but we can't tie the hands of future legislatures or the future administration any more than the current boards can tie the hands of the future board. So I guess that's the best analogy I can give you on that. Concerning extensions and deadlines and timelines, when all these appointments are made to the boards, the state has always had them on the schedule of July 1. And that may have been the case when you got your appointment too. It probably stated July 1 at some point as far as an end date. And the reason they do that is they want that to be on the same cycle as the state budget. The state budget starts around July 1. Also, when the merger was done in Butler, there was a legal opinion talking about, the best time for the merger, and they felt that it was best to be on the same cycle that the state has always set up for the appointments to the boards, and also for to be in tune with the state's budget cycle. So that's the reason for the July 1 date. As far as collaboration, nobody's saying that folks can't talk to each other. We understand these joint boards have been having conversations. I think where the confusion came in was that there was concern about having to do everything from A to Z, which we once again said that you can't impose whatever you want to have done on the future board in the Ohio Revised Code. And it's probably one of the few pieces of the law that I've read in all the time I spent in Columbus that was clearly spelled out and most concise and clear that everything transfers forward to the new board, and the board continues to operate just like it did, except now it's under a different name. So that's another area. When we talk about a sense of urgency, we are the last county in Ohio to have two separate boards. And I've reviewed the minutes of board meetings over the past couple of years, and every time the topic came up, for some reason, folks wanted to keep putting it off till next year. And we still have, even though the overdose deaths are down, we still have about 60 people a month who are overdosing. So we still have a real problem. There's a lot of co-occurrence that's taking place. We also have, a lot of suicides that are taking place. We still have a strong prevalence of alcoholism. We can never forget that's probably one of the main issues. But we've got all this expertise and being able to bring this expertise together and resources. We're already being told that this will make it much better for the County of Lorain to be able to seek grants, to be able to receive better federal funding. The state is launching a lot of initiatives under the DeWine administration that I think this creates a better situation for us. We've already been told of easily over $1 million that could be coming in to address the addiction services. So there is a sense of urgency for that reason. And as far as making a decision, we have been very thorough in interviewing all the candidates that have come forward, and we take this decision very seriously. I can tell you a lot of good people come in to meet with us, a lot of good people. And we want to make sure that this new board represents well the community, represents the community well when it comes to mental health issues, represents the community well when it comes to addiction issues, and also represents what our community is all about and the diversity of our community. So we are continuing the interview process. We haven't set a timeline yet, but this board is, for the reasons that were stated earlier, committed to July 1st to make everything come together and work. The biggest challenge for the new board will be determining interim leadership, probably determining who's going to chair, vice chair, those types of things to set up this first structure. And I'm sure there will be a number of meetings, but life will go on. We've had, when a new president comes on board, the county, federal government doesn't stop. And we certainly have seen how things can change. A new administration comes in at the state level, state government doesn't stop, it continues to operate, and these two boards are going to continue to operate as well too. And we have two good directors over there who are doing a good job in their respective camps. It's just a matter of getting everybody under the same umbrella and thinking through, through one lens. So those are just some of my additional thoughts on that. And I guess since we've kind of transitioned to my report, I just wanted to also state, for the trustee, always have had tremendous respect for Trustee Monschein, and he's very passionate about his community, as they should be. And annexation's always been a very difficult issue. I dealt with it a lot in Columbus. I know some of you folks get tired of hearing me talk about Columbus, but I learned a lot down there. And, decisions that are made down there have a great impact back home. It's always one of the most controversial issues to deal with. I'm not a big annexation fan. I wish people could work out more JEDs and, everybody kind of shares in an arrangement. But the legislature has put some things in place that do tie our hands, and I've even asked Jerry Innes, somewhat jokingly, what are they going to do, come up and arrest me if I vote no? And Jerry says, you're really supposed to.
We could probably arrange that.
We could arrange that, yeah. So, but basically, I'm told as long as the paperwork's in order, I have to go with it. And certainly, there have been things that this board has held up in the past because we couldn't read maps, and regardless of how good our opticians said our eyes were, there were things we couldn't read. There were things that weren't clarified. We make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But at the end of the day, if the legislature says that the paperwork's in order and you have to approve it, and we ask legal counsel, and legal counsel says, you got to do it, then you do it. And believe me, I don't like that approach either. And maybe one day.
It's the way we're structured.
Right.
That's the way.
Right.
That's the way we set up our government
Right.
system.
Right.
But the worst thing,
So I just want
I
to.
can add, that law does not require me to send it to the auditors or engineer to review it all.
Really?
Wow.
I do that
Okay.
Because I'm not,
Oh, that's interesting.
but yes, they left that out, and
Oh,
they will not put
yeah,
that in.
yeah, we should talk to them in Columbus, and
I've
of course, our
She's
clerk
asked.
being so thorough.
She is thorough. She knows what she's doing.
So we try to handle things a responsible way, and so I just wanted to give those thoughts on annexation. As far as the rest of my report, Citizens Council Avon Lake met recently. It's really great. They all come together with the community organizations to try to work through any conflicting schedules so they can have the community events, try to move the events around so you don't have like 2 or 3 big events going on in one evening and everything's conflicting. And they also recognize the Citizens of the Year each year, and also recognize the Kiwanis Scholarship program over there in Avon Lake. Want to congratulate the Elyria Public Library. I know we had a role in that with some land that we had at the time, and worked that through so that things could move forward for the Elyria Public Library to move with their new location. Looking forward to that, and just great people at the Elyria Public Library, and we need to support our library systems. Thank goodness we have them. Had the opportunity to hear at the Lorain NAACP luncheon on Saturday. Had the opportunity to hear Senator Tom Roberts speak. He's the president of the Ohio Conference of the NAACP. A very good gentleman, and just talking about the urgency of people getting out to vote. He also has had it brought to his attention about the great stress and unrest and discomfort for our students over in Lorain with House Bill 70. And I will tell you, I'm starting to get a little concerned. I think the community is really going to have to ramp up on this because, and I've seen it too many times before, where things get over to the Senate and the Senate just kind of drags their feet on things, and they like to take their good old time and let issues that are bad issues linger. I've said it to the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, and our legislators, and I'll say it again publicly, that if you do not address this issue before the end of the school year, it is no longer John Kasich's issue. It's no longer the previous legislature's issue. It's now your issue. And so that means that if local control is not returned to Lorain, and local control is needed for voters to have confidence in wanting to support a levy in that community, you will not only have an academic crisis, you will have a financial crisis, and things will be worse. The most important part, as I always said in Columbus in my conversations with my superintendents, is that it shouldn't be about Democrat or Republican. It should be about what's best for the kids. And unfortunately, with the way things are being handled right now, they're not thinking about the kids. And the kids suffer. We have a lot of, interesting dynamics that take place, socioeconomic issues, and I don't know how you ever deal with those. Dealing with, poverty and parents who want to be there for their kids and be at the PTA meetings, but mom and dad or a single parent's got to work 3 jobs to make ends meet, so they're trying, and the kids are with the grandparents, and, grandparents at some point like to move the kids on, but they're having to watch the kids, in some cases raise the kids. And so there's all kinds of challenges involved. It's not an easy solution, but I can tell you that there is not one elected official in the world that ever wants to stand in front of a room and tell a community, you are not going to have a local voice. We're going to make all those decisions for you down in Columbus. Just no way. And that's what they've done to our community, and it's hurting our kids, it's hurting our community. We will have a fiscal crisis in addition to an academic crisis if we don't get this resolved. But unfortunately, from what I'm hearing in Columbus, the community is really going to have to turn up the heat, because I'm starting to see signs that the Senate's going to drag its feet on things, and that's not a good thing. I am going to have another conversation with Senator Manning and pretty much convey to him, again, the same thoughts that I've shared with you today, and I apologize for the long report.
Well, and if I can add to that, Matt, Commissioner Kokoski and I went to a legislative update a week and a half ago. Unfortunately, Senator Manning wasn't prepared to speak at the update, but we posed the question because it was the day after the announcement that Representative Miller's bill had passed, and asking what it was going to take to get this moving, because reports had it that he was already saying that the Senate may drag their feet on it. The president of the Senate was there, and we refreshed his memory what House Bill 70 was. And we did the same thing. We said, you've got to help. If you don't help with the control issue, it's going to be a financial issue in a very short amount of time. And I don't see a solution after that. So So we did do that. But going into my report, Thursday was the county township trustee meeting. Licata Ways, Tom Stuber was there. He shared the cold reality of how opioids change brain patterns in such a way that the desire to become sober isn't even possible without serious and consistent treatment and counseling. He shared a story about how folks will come to him and they'll say, you know, I don't think I need to go to all those meetings anymore. And he'll ask him, well, why? And they'll say, well, things are going pretty well. And he'll say, so why do you think they're going so well? And he said, the answer is usually because I've been going to all those meetings. So keeping within the structure of the rehabilitation makes a big difference. Friday morning, I was invited to attend the Ohio chapter of the Matriots Breakfast meeting in Cleveland. It's a nonpartisan organization. They had conversations on electing good candidates who can be game changers where necessary, and it was good to see them. They had supported me in the past. Last Friday was also the annual luncheon for the Board of Mental Health. Pete Early, an author who has 4 of his 11 books on the New York Times bestsellers, discussed his best-known book titled Crazy, A Father's Search Through America's Mental Health Madness. That book was a finalist for the 2007 Pulitzer, and the word crazy is actually referencing our mental health system and his journey and the path he had trying to get help for his son, and just a wonderful story. Late in the afternoon Friday was the groundbreaking for the new South Side branch of the Elyria Library. It was a little chilly, but the sun was shining, and they're targeting an opening in September. I want to thank WOBL, who did a phone interview with me on Thursday to remind folks about all the opportunities for Lorain County Pride Day, which was Saturday. Started that day by supporting the Veterans 5K walk run over at Burr Oak on Ford Road. It was a little damp and chilly, just like last year. But then I traveled to some of the Pride Day projects so I could thank some of the volunteers who are out there. At noon, I attended the NAAC luncheon with Commissioner Lundy, and after that, had fun over at Lorain's Better Block. I'm a member of the Lorain Lions, and they have a bicycle there for diabetic children. They keep it in the school, and the kids sit on the stationary bike, but as the wheel turns, it has a holder up front that grinds smoothies. So it teaches children that when their numbers are off and their balance is off, they recognize I need exercise and I need something healthy. So we were having children jump on the bike and we made smoothies for them. Let's see, Sunday morning was the polka brunch at the Slovak home, and then as Commissioner Kokoski said, we went to Uncork for Canine. Tuesday, I attended the NASD training program, which was provided by the Children and Family Council for planning. FAS is fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and it's the result of consuming alcohol while pregnant. And in cases of heavy consumption, even during conception, it can affect an unborn baby's brain development. It's often misdiagnosed or not diagnosed. Children are subject to physical and mental defects, heart defects, physical and emotional problems that interfere with learning and social skills. But what was interesting, most interesting of all, is that of all substance abuse, including heroin, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol produces the far most serious effects on the brain of a fetus. And the way that it was described is that it actually travels through the fetus's brain. And while we as adults can somewhat dilute that effect in our body and fat-to-body ratio and food and liquids, the fetus has nothing but alcohol that can, and they showed pictures of that. And it's interesting that to this date, providers, healthcare providers, still don't always address the subject, are you consuming alcohol? And they said they need a greater awareness of that. They often hear that pregnant women will say, well, I only drink white wine because I was told white wine's okay. And the message is there is no safe amount of any alcohol that a expecting mothers should drink. And I think that concludes my report. So thank you.
Just one more thing, so we don't forget, this week is still King of Wings week, so if you
Yes.
want chicken wings, go to the Visit Lorain County Facebook page and see which restaurants are participating in that.
Board correspondence.
I would move that the reading be waived.
I'll second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mrs. Sueda.
Aye.
Seeing no other business at this time, I would move that we go into executive session for the reasons stated by the county administrator and the assistant county prosecutor.
I'll second.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda. Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the